Hi guys, welcome back to the Humble Gamer channel. I'm the Humble Gamer, and this is some more of my train sim scenarios, career scenarios stuff. This is not technically a career scenario, but we are on the Edinburgh to Newcastle line. We're going all the way from Edinburgh to Newcastle. We are stopping at Dunbar, Berwick-upon-Tweed, Alnmouth, Morpeth, and Newcastle Central. It is like I said, it is a time tell scenario, but it is not a career scenario. So there is no score. We are driving a Class 91 with accompanying trailer and stock, and we are just show you the route. Of course, we've seen a lot of the Edinburgh stuff. We're going to go out of Edinburgh and then all the way down to Newcastle. Should take about an hour and a half. But let's go. So yeah, obviously it's electric, Class 91. Doing the big main line. We are in intercity livery, I believe. We'll check that when we get to Dunbar, 29 miles away. We're not going to see a huge amount. Yes, we are in intercity livery. We're not going to see a huge amount of this route per se, because it's a flying straight through situation. But yes, so yeah, no, I'm excited to do this because we are now leaving Scotland officially, and we will come back to Scotland, have no fear. But we are now officially leaving Scotland, and we shall now be doing down the English east coast, and seeing bits of Edinburgh Waverley that we haven't seen as yet. Yet another model of Edinburgh Waverley. Why am I on emergency brake again? I was well under the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. That's annoying. That's annoying. I'm going to have to just keep a really close eye on it because, seriously, fuck that bullshit. Either way, we are now good to go, so let's go. And we shall soon be hitting the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. Oh, the automatic brakes in this. I know that I've had my problems with SPADs, and I know that I nearly had a problem with SPADs in the previous video when I was driving the Union of South Africa. But it's going to be quite nice. First of all, can I say the morning light effect on this route is really, really nice. That's my video game review ahead on. By the way, I do video game reviews. If you didn't know that, check out my recommended channels. You'll see Invicta Media. I do video game reviews for them. Oh, that's the sound of the AWS. I thought that was a... Thank you. I thought that was a level crossing that I just couldn't see. Anyway, we can expect to get some serious speed up on this as we travel south from Scotland's capital, Edinburgh. Edinburgh's the capital of Scotland, isn't it? I'm sure it is. Yes. But yeah, so we can put some serious throttle on. What's the situation cab-wise? Just the left and right sided views. That's the thing, that's fine. Oh, we tilt. We tilt! So then, yes, Dunbar and then Berwick-upon-Tweed, which is where we enter England, obviously. I mean, we've entered England by that point. Ooh! Another stadium. Useful for Sodor. Whose stadium is this? That's going to be... It's not big enough to be... That looks like a rugby stadium. It's not big enough to be Heart of Midlothian or Hibernian. But, see if I can see any indication from here. No, I can't. But either I'm going to put my head back in because we're going at 90 mph, so this is going to be again a more sedate journey, I feel, because unless things go drastically wrong, there's not a lot to do other than just blast down the East Coast main line. Obviously, I shall get us up. I shall get the map up so we can see where we're going through as we're about to come through Craig and Tinney, or Craig and Tinney depart. Oh no, it is Craig and Tinney. Oh, for God's sake! Why? I lost my concentration, and it's immediately said, "Well, you're obviously not paying full attention, so we're going to give you the emergency brake." Oh. Had I gone over 90? I might have gone over 90. I might have to give him fair cop for that one. See, a station down there is... What's the first station we go through? Musselburgh. And then, yeah, lots of... We must hit the coast around about here. Where does that take us? Since I'm having to stop anyway. North Berwick. Now, North Berwick, I believe, is in Scotland, and Berwick-upon-Tweed is in England. I could be wrong on that front, but that's as I understand it. Fortunately, it's an early morning service, so... Very American-sounding horn. And we're going to be late at Dunbar. Which is frustrating. Oh, I'm going to have to be in the car, but I'm going to have to focus. What time are we supposed to be? 121 miles, 7:26. See it in about an hour and a half's time. I didn't hit 95, and then once we get out of these sorts of areas, we'll be hitting 125 mph. So actually, we can get some serious speed up here. Especially given that a Class 91 is yellow Mark 1s. I'm guessing they're not drivable, those look scenery. But either way, we're already up to 50 odd miles an hour. So yeah, this is... I like this. I like the fact... What I'm trying to do with my route purchasing now for Train Simulator is... Unless something particularly special that I'm like, I have to have that comes across, I'm trying to fill in gaps, basically. So eventually I can interconnect all my routes. So essentially, I will have travelled from Glasgow. We will have travelled from Glasgow to Newcastle by the end of this video. Essentially, obviously there is the Fort William to Musselburgh, Fort William to Glasgow section, which is Fort William to Helensburgh and Helensburgh to Glasgow. So I am missing bits, but yeah, I'm quite happy with how my route collection is coming along, frankly. Let's just slow down a little bit. This must be Musselburgh. We're going through, it is lovely. Straight through, no messing. Nice and simple, and we will see the sea for quite a lot of this bit of the route, north of Newcastle. There's quite a lot of ocean view track. Once we get to Newcastle to York, we know it's particularly coastal, and York to... And then York down to London isn't particularly coastal either, but this bit's going to have some coastline on it. Should be pointed out that also now, for the fans of my Sodor route, I can now legitimately go from Edinburgh to Tidmouth on Sodor. Using a few routes, but I can do it. So that's one thing I might do next. At some point, do an Edinburgh to Tidmouth run. Not sure what I'd use for that. Something big, I think. It would obviously need to be an express V. There wouldn't be many stopping points. Probably be Edinburgh to Glasgow. Non-stop. Oh, where are we going through? Centre it. Walliford. So yeah, Edinburgh to Glasgow non-stop, then Glasgow to Carlisle non-stop, then Carlisle to Kirkby Stephen, and then it would be Kirkby Stephen down through to T-Bay, and then on to Barrow and then on to Sodor. But I need to finish the Sodor main line first before I can do any of that sort of stuff. But on to our journey here. We're making fine progress. It's supposed to be in King's Cross at 10:40. Obviously, we're not doing the King's Cross bit, but we can slow down now, I think, as we go through Preston Pans. I wonder, there's a challenge I might do myself once I've got... Oh. Didn't see the speed limit change, that's fine. No score to knock off, but I'd be losing quite a few points at this point if this was a career scenario. There we go. So yes, while this is in the career scenarios play, this is not technically a career scenario. But it's not technically a career scenario. It's not a career scenario. Still here. I would quite like to make a little bit of time up between here and Dunbar. It's not going to happen, I don't think. I'm not going to get to Dunbar in 7 minutes. Or 8 minutes, really. Which is annoying. It is annoying, but... these things can't be helped. Now where are we going through? Long Nidri. Still saying 6:10, which means we're running late. Only by 2 minutes, which isn't massive, but we are running late, and I don't like the idea that we're running late. Very nice scenery though at this point. Normally obviously I'd get outside the cab, but we are doing career scenarios, so I don't get outside the cab. But, I mean, as cabs go, that's quite nice. Also, incidentally, they do have a non-driving cab as well. And they also have they do also have the flat end as well, I think. Which that might be, I don't know, I haven't had a chance to properly explore this locomotive. When we get to Dunbar, we shall get out onto the platform and... oh. That's definitely warning me of 105. Change down to 105 speed limit ahead, I wonder why. What's happening here that I can't do at 110 but I can do at 105? Is it a curve? Fair enough. Bus over there. But yes, when we get to Dunbar we shall get out and have a look at the train, because I allow myself, at platforms I allow myself the opportunity to get out of the cab and have a look. There's no point going up to 125 because we're about to go to 115 speed limiters straight afterwards, so but yeah, once I've got the collection of routes for Trainsham that I would like, which is basically pretty much all real life English routes, I'm in a position now I could probably see how much of Britain I could go around in, for example, how much of Britain I could go around in 24 hours. Probably go no further than Glasgow or Edinburgh, use that as a sort of levelling point. But yeah, Glasgow to Edinburgh, down to London, London to the south coast, along the south coast, back up through the Midlands, up the west coast. Like I said, I've still got some more routes to buy, but that's a project I'd like to look to in the future, because I like the fact that Trainsim, because of the way that it works, it's not unnatural to stop at certain stations and change trains, and I quite like that. In fact, I really like that. Oh, for God's sake, I didn't respond to the thing. Oh. When I hear that sound I have to press, otherwise it's going to hit the emergency. Oh. Slowing right down again, only 9 miles from Dunbar. That's me let's playing while I should be listening and concentrating. I heard the noise and I ignored it. No, now, sorry, I've just got to plug my camera in. I know now that is the sound for the AWS requiring a response. Passengers are going to be wondering what the hell is going on at the front here. We should be at Dunbar, to be on time, we should be at Dunbar in 2 minutes 10 seconds from now. 8 miles to go and I'm slowing because I wasn't bloody concentrating. Ugh. God, I just need to be on it. It's a new locomotive. This is the problem with this career scenario thing. I knew it was always going to be a problem because I'm driving locomotives I'm not used to. I've owned the Class 91 for less than 24 hours. Never got in it before, never even looked at it. And that's why it's causing problems. Oh, we're going to be 5 minutes late at Dunbar. There's got to be places I can pick up time. There's got to be places I can pick up time. There has to be. So it's from here we should be starting to see some sort of coast. Oh, what's up there? Oh, yes, that's North Berwick. Yes, that's it. North Berwick is definitely in. We've just gone through Drem. We've gone through that under the power of the emergency brake. That sound is going to haunt me in my bloody dreams. Do you know why I ignore it? It's because it sounds like... Do you remember? If you're new to the channel, you won't, so please do go back and check. Well, not check, but go back and re-watch. At the start of this, I started at the Fort William to Malé route, the West Highland Line extension. And that sound is the same sound as the... not that one, but the wee. It's the same sound that the level crossings made, and I had to blank it out. And now I've got to retrain my ear to listen to it, or I'm going to get emergency braked every time. Thank God this isn't a career scenario, because I would have been gone, scores-wise. gone, wasted. Nothing doing. Just gonna have to listen out for it. Fortunately, it's quite low, so I can have the volume quite high in my ears. See that sound? That's what it sounds like in the when it's saying, "Just so you know, you need to slow down. Acknowledge me, acknowledge me." That's what it is. Ugh. It's frustrating, is what it is. 6 miles to Dunbar. We should have been arriving there now. This journey might have to be split into 2 videos. Where would we split it? Probably Berwick, once we've entered England. Berwick's in, what, 33 miles? Hey baby, nice dancing. You can't be seen.
I know.
What?
I know that.
Do you want to be seen?
No.
Just making sure, you never know.
Being seen was not my aim. Oh, look at them two.
I know, right?
Oh, which ones? She's away.
Is she? I've said she was in a wheel earlier.
She's in it now. When I switched on the light, she was like.
Yes, today at time of recording we got a new hamster. She bit Charlie. It's the first thing she did. So we're thinking of calling her Vampire or Vamp. Where's Almouth? 63. Yeah, I think if I am going to split it, Berwick would be the place to do that. And I think I might, because my plans outside of YouTube did not incorporate me being late. Need to slow. Double yellow light means I need to slow and prepare to stop. Possibly because there's something in front of me, probably a local service. Flashing yellow, yeah, there's a local service ahead of me, I reckon. The thing is, while it's telling me I need to slow for the 85 mph speed limit, which I've done, beyond that there's a 40 mph speed limit as I enter Dunbar. Right, so that's a single yellow. Oh no, it's green now. Let's release the brakes for a little bit, we've got a bit of time. I need to keep it braking because we're at 65 mph. We need to slow to 40 fairly swiftly, actually. 1/10 of a mile to get us down to 40. In fact, here is the 40 mph speed limit. We're doing 50 as we enter that, so... But we are braking, and this is Dunbar. Of course, back in the days of the original Flying Scotsman, the train, not the locomotive. It wouldn't have stopped at Dunbar. God blimey. I've done that poorly. I've done everything there very, very poorly. Oh well. It's not like it's a flagship service or anything. Right, since we can now get out of the cab, I will just quickly hop down and show you the Class 81. Class 91, sorry. There we are. And let's just see if it is another locomotive at the end, or whether it's... It is another locomotive at the end. That's fine, because they also give you the... Oh! I've come out of the game, there we go. But I shall now run back up the platform to the front of the train. Next driver, next stop, Berwick. Yeah. 6:32. Like I say, we're only going to be a minute late at Berwick at the moment, so we can probably make that up with some good running. And it says even in the blurb for this, hold on, for my recording anxiety, I need to get everything outside the game up and visible so I can see that I'm definitely still recording, because OBS has given me problems in the past. But it actually says in the blurb for the locomotive, when you buy it specifically, that they're obviously the Class 91s were called Intercity 225s because the Class 43 could go up to 125 mph, but these could go up to 225 kph, which is 140 miles an hour, and it said very rarely do they actually reach that speed, but they can to make up time. So, provided I don't get emergency stopped, I might have to use that skill. Problem is, this is a computer game, not reality, so whereas in reality I could go up to 140, and as long as I was doing it in a relatively safe area, no one would know the difference. The computer will be angry at me and will emergency stop me, so I have to see whether that tactic needs to stay in the back pocket, whether it's a worthwhile tactic. We're going to drop to 100, the limit's going to drop to 105, that shouldn't cause us any problems. And then we can get up to 125 and potentially even further. I'm going to try. The only way I'm going to make up any time is by going over speed limits. And since it says in the blurb for this locomotive that that's what they do professionally, and I'm running this as a career scenario, so I would be doing what I might have to do in my career, I think I'm well within my rights to do it. So we're just going to keep accelerating and see whether we can start making time back and whether the game will let me do this. What are we going past? What industry are we going past? Oxwellman's Waste. Oxwell? Oxwellman's? 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 Oxwell Mains. Oxwell Mains. Oh, and cement. Oh, it's a cement plant. With lots of cementy stuff. Over there. Lineside industry is what I'm adding to Soda as we speak, really, as well as scenery in quite a lot of places. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the Sodor snippets playlist in the description below, if you're new to the channel. I'm building the island of Sodor in Train Simulator. It will not be released publicly in the foreseeable future before that question gets asked, because it would take a lot of work to get up to a place where I'd be happy for it to be released. Going past there. Taunus nuclear siding. It's always fun. Okay, let's see if we can make any time back getting to Berwick. We're saying we should be in Berwick in 15 minutes time. Old disused station there. Oh, we are wobbling. Yes, I know we're speeding. I'm intending to... Those are some serious speed restrictions coming up. They must be there for a reason. The last thing I want to do is crash. It's one thing if I get spadded or something like that, because that's a game-specific rule. If I crash, that's a pretty big failure on my part. Let's be fair. Well, lights are all green, so okay. Let's just try and make up some time, shall we? Let's have a look at the route map. Any big corners coming up? Little bits. Some corners here going through Grant's house, but. Okay, I'm going 100 in a, give or take 100 in a 90, and it doesn't seem to be emergency braking me, so okay, we'll see if we can get up to 140 then. Just keep resetting the AWS. And hoping we don't crash. I mean, usually speed limits give you tolerances anyway, don't they? Clawing some time back. Not a lot, we are clawing some time back. I like the scenery, it's well done, it feels realistic. Take the foot off the throttle for a little bit. Maybe dab a little bit of brake on there because these curves are getting tight. Like I said, the last thing I want to do is crash. It's one thing making up time, but if we crash, then we lose all our time. Them here is 75 for quite a while, so what's going on? Where are we? Oh yes, we're coming through Grant's house, aren't we? We are clawing back some time, and we're doing it relatively safely as well. Yeah, we're now only going to be a minute and a half late at Berwick as opposed to 2 minutes. Once I get it back on time, I'll happily drop back down to regulation legal speeds, but I would like to make up the time, and since, like I said, the game has given me license to do it because they said that's what they do, they make up time. And that's what I'm doing, I'm safely making up time. Now the line straightens out a little bit, massively, but a little bit. We're getting close to the coast soon, I would imagine. And once it gets to 90, once the speed limit gets to 90, we'll just drop it. See what happens. See, we're down to 6:33. We're now only going to be exactly 60 seconds late at Berwick. Now, if I'm on time at Berwick, that was the one I had to listen out for. Having been 7 minutes late at Dunbar, if I can be on time at Berwick, this will be... I will take this as a feather in my cap if I can pull that sort of time back. And again, I've done it relatively safely. I've not been doing 100 to a 40 or anything. Besides, like I said previously, this is the racetrack, isn't it? This is the East Coast Mainline is the racetrack of England. Speed limit now 95, I'm doing 122. Still got a few seconds to get down. Not many, but we've still got a few. I mean, we're within the 6:32 time frame now anyway. So we will be on time. Even if I could make it smack bang on scheduled time, that would be brilliant. Yes, this is now straight and flat for a little bit. We're doing 133. We actually are hitting, getting near towards its designated top speed. Just got to shave 10 more seconds off. Yeah, we've done it now. I'm now prepared to say that we have succeeded to the point where we can start slowing now and going back to a much more regulation legal speed. And we didn't crash. We've made time back and we didn't crash, and I am quietly somewhat relieved by that. Took me a second, thought it, my brain did the whole, that's a level crossing. No, it's not. That's something you have to respond to. And we are now no longer speeding. Correction, we are now no longer speeding, which is good. So we did the thing, we've got the time back now. We're actually going to be 2 seconds early at Berwick, apparently. In 7 miles. So, okay, yeah, we've done pretty well there. can't argue with any of that. I'll have myself a celebratory nut. That sentence could sound very wrong. That's not what I meant. Because A, that's a ridiculous word to describe what it can possibly describe, and 2, I mean these. California honey and salt. Walker's sensations. I'm assuming that by this point we have, because I don't know the route particularly well, I'm assuming we have by this point crossed into England. There's the sea. Here is, I'll brave the speed, put my head out the window. This is the east coast that the main line is named after. Right on the shoreline. Not quite as close as Dawlish Warren, but you know, slightly different kind of coastline as well. But yeah, so Berwick in 4 miles. So, given that I'm travelling at 92, I shall cut the regulator, cut the throttle. We depart Berwick at 6:34. So we do have a 2-minute stop at Berwick. Ah, I think we just passed it. That was the sign. We're now in England. I just saw it flash past us. No mention of it on the track, but I'm pretty sure I just saw the sign. We are now in England. Which is pretty cool. All things considered, we started this playlist off at Fort William. One and a half miles to Berwick. So I shall start slowing. In preparation for the stop. Slowing a bit slowly there, but not so much that I should worry. As we enter Berwick upon Tweed. Our first career mode, my first public career mode stop in England. Didn't mean to do emergency brake setting. Ugh. I'm driving this relatively poorly, actually, let's be fair here. There is the sign for Berwick. And I shall see you in roughly 2 minutes' time. Okay, so we should be good to go very, very soon. Yep, there we are. Almost 6:54:55. As we go over the famous viaduct outside Berwick. That's the way to the sea, and that's not, that's inland. The crossing of the River Tweed. Yes, so we're back on time now, which is good. Then Alnmouth, and then Morpeth and Newcastle. So now we are in very much in England. And we'll hopefully make very good time. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, Alnmouth is arrive at 6:54, leave at 6:55. It's saying we're going to be there at 6:53 at the moment, so you know, progress is being made and all that. What are we going past? Berwick engineer siding. Cool. Oh, I'm speeding. Oh, never mind. I say, I'm genuinely amazed that I'm having to do this as if it's a career scenario and that it's not a career scenario. Not gonna lie, part of me when I downloaded this route was genuinely not upset, but surprised and disappointed, I guess. That this route didn't come with any career scenarios. Given how famous the route is, and given how important the route is, the Newcastle to Edinburgh route, I have to say I was genuinely disappointed. It just feels lazy from the developers to not do. It felt lazy from the developers to not do career scenarios. Then I thought, well, hold on, they're still doing scenarios. And then I thought, but hold on, maybe the career scenario thing was brought in after this route was released. I'm like, yes, but you can always update your route with scenarios. So I don't quite know why this route doesn't have career scenarios, but it doesn't, and that's the point, I guess. That's the thing. Saddened. But either way, we are now flying down the east coast. At 120 mph. Making our way to Alnmouth in 27 miles time. Still on time to reach Newcastle at 7:26. One thing I will do, and this is a plan that is definite, because the London to Peterborough, excuse me, the London to Peterborough part of the route, which is now the only part of the route I don't own from Edinburgh to London. As I plug my camera in. that part of the route is quite cheap. I think it's only like 15 quid. And once I've got that, I will be recreating the original Flying Scotsman using the Sterling single. Be with you in just a second. Again, apologies for the quick pause, but Charlie was playing our wedding song, so once I realised what it was, I thought I fancied going down and having a dance to it. Right, where were we? Oh yes, 24 miles from Alnmouth. Sounds like a terrible musical, but possibly quite a good movie. Oh, wibbly wobbly on the track a little bit. So yes, this is one of the longer journeys we'll have done in this. Almost 23, Morpeth 41, Newcastle 57. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, let's do the whole run. Let's do the whole run. I was debating splitting it, but no, let's do the whole run. It's going to be long. It's going to be long and tough and long-winded, but let's do the whole run in one go. One, not quite non-stop, but there is actually a file out there that amalgamates all of these routes. So you can do the whole thing, London King's Cross to Edinburgh. That's a level crossing. I don't have to press anything for that. Flying through the northeast countryside now. Now I don't know. I'm pronouncing it Alnmouth, but then there's Alnwick, which is up in the northeast, and that's pronounced Annick. So is this Anmouth? Aneth? If anyone from the northeast of England watches this, if you could spell out phonetically how Alnmouth is pronounced correctly. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, then just, you know, tell me I am and tell me how marvellous I am. No, so choking on my vanity. Damn you, nuts. No, but in all seriousness, if I am pronouncing it wrong, please do educate me. If at any point I'm driving on any of these routes and I'm going past somewhere near where you live and I pronounce it wrong, comment below, I won't be offended. Just so I know what's going on more than anything. I like to broaden my horizons. Ooh, 4-track. It'll be 4-track for a while, I imagine, won't it? Because there's a lot of 4-track stuff around Newcastle, and certainly the bottom, the southern section, London to Peterborough, is quite 4-tracky. Going back to 2-track now. I think maybe it is just the southern area then. Might even just be London to Grantham or something. Not Grantham. Grantham's in the north. Isn't it? I don't know. I talk like I know a lot of... I talk in a way that suggests sometimes that I know what I'm talking about. I don't. I haven't got a clue. Not all this stuff is educated guesswork. Holding at 124 mph. So I've still got 16 miles per hour in the tank. Should they be required at any point? It's interesting on this route that there are signals going in both directions. Are both these lines bi-directional? That seems an unusual way to run a route like this, but that's not unheard of. But usually you have your up line, your down line, up to London, down, up going towards London, down away from London. Some fairly swift changes in the speed limit here, so since I am trying to adhere to them when I can, and it won't lose me any time because I'm still going to be about a minute early at Alnmouth. Aneth? I don't know, the next station. Why? It's pretty much, we've just gone over a pretty much straight section of track. I wonder why we've been asked to slow. There was nothing obvious through that section. Did I miss something? Oh, never mind. Let's get the speed back up to 125 since that's now the limit. That's cost me 4 seconds of time now. I'm only going to be 43 seconds early at Aneth. No, I'm gonna, since I don't know what I'm talking about, and at least if I go on how it's spelt rather than anything else, I've at least got the defense. If I am wrong, I've at least got the defense of, well, that's how it's spelt. The next station is in my head now is Alnmouth. Oh, we're going through somewhere. Going through Chat Hill. Didn't see what class that was. We went past another local service. Oh, hello. Wibbly wobbly track work there. Planes. Oh. Despite the fact that I'm going at speed limit, I seem to be losing time all the time. Not that we're not going to be late. We're still a minute ahead. So losing that time doesn't actually lose us anything. But at the same time, it seems odd to have a schedule where travelling at the highest permitted speed isn't quick enough. Oh, bloody hell. That was terrifying. Train sim gave me a jump scare. That bloody bus. If a train is coming and the barriers are down, do not risk it, because that could have been... Thank God the traffic in this game doesn't have collision physics, because that would have been a nasty accident. And I'd have had nothing. I genuinely shat myself. Bloody hell. Fucking ridiculous. Send me back to Cowden Beath. That was less scary. That was just paranormal stuff. Ugh. As it came across, I genuinely, pit of my stomach fell. You heard what noise I made, and my hand went to brake. Oh. I think that's my driver's instinct, my real world driving instinct kicking in there. Because, oh, that was horrible. Not a fan. Ugh. One of the reminders that while this is a simulator, people do this for real. And if that had been a real bus and I was driving a real train in a real career, not only would my career have been over, but the life of myself, most of the people on that bus, and quite a few people in this train. Not to be messed with. Do not joke about it. God, that was genuine. That got me. Bloody hell. To start with, it was funny because it's a game, but now I'm having an existential crisis because that shit happens for real. Oh. No, thank you. I didn't see a speed limit change sign at any point, even on the hood. And yet I'm being told that it's dropped to 120. Yes, hello. Oh. How perplexing. Right. 2.5 miles to Alnmouth. And I really ought to slow since we're going at over 110 mph. Start putting some gentle brakes on, shall we? First we'll get us down below 95. Once I'm done, then if we can get below 85, that'd be perfect. My apologies, by the way, for just eating nuts on camera. Apparently I'm quite peckish. Alright. 30 something miles from Newcastle now. So Newcastle is in railway terms within touching distance. Nope, viaduct. Oh, 85, I thought it was a whistle board. Luckily I've slowed. Then it can't hurt to honk your horn, let the people of Alnmouth know that I'm arriving. And here is Alnmouth, and there is a mirror service, but with a class 43 in East Coast livery. Am I actually going to get one of these stops relatively right? Do you know what? I think I actually am. I think I've done that pretty darn well, all things considered. I will take that, and I shall see you guys in about Well, for you, a few seconds time, but for me, in about 2 minutes time. Okay, next stop, Morpeth, 0709 to 0711. And as you saw, the other express has gone as well, so Morpeth is in 18 miles and Newcastle is in 34. Should be reaching Newcastle in just over half an hour's time. Now, I don't know much about Morpeth, but I know that there's a big curve near it, yeah. And I know that because back on original Train Simulator, original Microsoft Train Simulator, there was, I believe he was a gentleman. Oh, I didn't press the bloody thing. Ugh. It's me looking at maps. Anyway, while I'm resetting the locomotive, because once again I neglected to listen to that bloody sound, I have to do some catching up for time, but that's fine. We can do that. Yes, there was a modder who used to do he did an NERJ something class called Joem as a mod you could download. It was awesome. I loved that locomotive. I loved a lot of what he did, actually. I'm pretty sure he also did a J70 what's it, the one that Toby is. I think it's a J71 class that he did that was named Joem, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong, those of you that know Joem, the actual locomotive in real life. Also say hi to him from me. But for a long time I thought his name was Morp the Curve. Only after reading it a few times I went, no, it's Morpeth Curve. The heck is Morpeth Curve? Then I researched and found out Morpeth Curve. That story took a lot longer to tell than it should have done, considering how dull it actually was as a story. Either way, I guess unofficial shout out to one of my favourite original Microsoft Train Sim modders, Morpeth Curve. You've never met me, but hello, used to love your stuff. I don't know if he's he or she. I think it's he. I think his name was also Chris, but I could be wrong. Could be mixing up my modders there. But don't know if they have brought their skills to Train Sim 2021 or Railworks or Kuju Rail Simulator, however you decide to describe the current iteration. I think how you choose to describe it is often to do with when you first played it. Because to me, I call it Train Simulator now because of YouTube, because I have to, you know, because from a labelling point of view as far as YouTube's concerned, an algorithmic point of view, it's Train Sim. But for a long time I called it Railworks, for a very long time, to differentiate between Microsoft Train Simulator and Railworks. I never called it Kuju Rail Simulator or Rail Simulator, Rail Sim. Never called it that. We slow to 85 successfully. We're apparently 9 minutes away from Morpeth and its famous curve. Another big viaduct over a river. Probably not the Tyne, but never know. Okay, there we can speed up again now. As we go past the 110 mph board. So while this is wonderful to have as a route, and I'm very glad I have it, and I shall be certainly driving some steam trains along it at some point, this particular bit of scenery, it's a bit dull. It's just a little bit Englishy. Where are we going through now? Acklington. Fine northeastern town. I still can't get over that this isn't a career scenario. I don't understand why they didn't do career scenarios. I just don't. Just doesn't make any sense to me, that. Either way. Either way. It's amazing how flat this route is. There are ups and downs. Obviously, we've just gone up to a 1 in 359, but even that's not a massive hill, really, for a locomotive, even for a steam locomotive. So it's just... The East Coast was definitely the better route to Scotland in terms of expresses. I don't necessarily mean that the LNER ran it better than the LMS ran theirs. I mean purely from a geographical standpoint, this was the better route to Scotland, which makes what the LMS did on the West Coast so much more amazing. Because how they've managed to get that route to work as quickly as they did. And again, I mean in terms of speed, not time. Running speeds, not time taken. I mean, to be absolutely 100% clear what I mean. As we have to prepare for a 100-mile-an-hour speed limit and lose 6 mph of speed. As we come past something. Widrington sidings. So yeah, what the LNER did was amazing. They've created a genuine flat racetrack for their thoroughbreds, the A1s, A2s, A3s, and A4s. And it made it a good, quick artery for not just passengers but also freight as well. But the fact that the LMS did what they did on the other side of the country, going through the countryside they had to, whereas this can't have been that difficult to keep that flat. Looking at the countryside around it, all they've had to do was avoid towns. I suppose the thing is, the LNER never had to go cross country, they were always just going straight up, whereas the LMS had to curve through the centre of Britain, through the Pennines. And that's what made it. I'm going to make the assumption this is Widrington. Yes. So we can speed up now so we can go to 105 and then 110. Fairly soon after it, so we can again pick up speed again. We're only six-ish miles away from Morpeth now. It's a very American sounding horn on the Class 91. Listen. two-tone thing. Obviously, there are two horns. One you control with the spacebar, and one you control with the B button. There's no difference in tone. It's not like you can go like you do on some of the diesel locomotives. You can't do that here. You've got two-tone and singular one of those two tones, and then it's the same thing if you use them in conjunction. But oh. Wonder what those said. I'll never know because I can't get out. Didn't read them in time. That's not true. I can get out. I am setting myself the challenge of running this like an actual career scenario, so I only get out when it would be, I only go outside the cab when it would be reasonable for me to be outside the cab as a driver. So at stations, basically, or whenever I am stationary. Alright, 3.5 miles to Morpeth. Doing 110, give or take. Well, 109.4 at most. Because if I click over to 109.5, it clicks over to 110 when it's on the three figures. Little tidbit if you didn't know that. Now, if you play a lot of train sim, you probably do know that or have been made aware. Or there we go. So we need to slow down even quicker now because we're going up to a 70 mph speed limit as we fly through Hegswood. It's interesting now on this route because the station names will change because we're now in Northern Rail territory. So it'll be very interesting to see the change in dynamics, and of course when we get to in our next video when we do the Newcastle and York route, we're not only changing routes, we're also changing eras, because this is definitely a modern day route, whereas the Newcastle York as presented is the BR Blue era, so there'll be a big change in aesthetics, which is kind of cool. Because then York to Peterborough is back to modern day. Isn't it amazing the way that this has worked, this simulator has worked in terms of when routes have been released and what eras people chose to do? Okay, here is Morpeth platform. We're going to be relatively on time here, I think, actually. 07, certainly on time enough, I mean, unless you're being really anal about your train times. We are certainly on time enough for the majority of commuters to not notice that we are going to be arriving officially a few seconds late. We're still 07:09, so as we enter the Morpeth curve before, and it gets even tighter as well as we go round, so just make sure all the carriages are within the platform, and they are. How lovely. That's the best stop I've done yet, and I shall see you guys, like I said, in about a few, in game time 2 minutes, in your time, mere moments. Okay, here we go. We are clear to make our way to Newcastle. It's still 50 mph as we go round the Morpeth curve. Newcastle in 16 miles. Saying arrival at 7:20. Timetable arrival 7:26:23. We are currently arriving at 7:24. So that's good. That's good because it means I can do my outro without the game going, "Oh, you finished." Tell you what, if this is a non-stop service, you are slowing for this curve, aren't you? if you're doing a goods haul or something, you are slowing right the fuck down. Because that is a tight corner. That's a very tight corner. Yeah, look, there's not a lot of. Oh, I nearly missed that one. Nearly missed that one. There was the siren-y thing in my head, but I got through it. I pressed the button. This is our last 16 miles of this particular run. It's a nice route. It's a nice high-speed mainline route. Which at the moment, a lot of the stuff we've been doing is, and a lot of the stuff we will do is. I'm looking forward to when we get south of York, because that's where things. Well, even after Newcastle and York, there's some interesting stuff going on there as well. So. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Because we're getting into slightly more niche little routes. Because once we do as part of the Newcastle to, we'll call it Newcastle to Peterborough, because there's also Newcastle to York and York to Peterborough, sort of one section. There's also things like the Weardale and Teesdale network, which we shall cover. There's also Doncaster Works, which we shall cover. So I'm looking forward to doing both of those, because again, they're not mainline they're not strictly mainline stuff. So no, I'm looking forward to. I've enjoyed the high speed stuff and a bit of the suburban stuff and the mainline stuff, but I'm looking forward to doing some more sedate branch line work. I should also point out, if at any point there are scenario makers out there who want to do a career scenario for any routes, let me know what route you want to make a career scenario for in the comments below. I will happily play them, but obviously if you're going to make a route scenario for a route I don't have, it's best I tell you before you start making that route. But yeah, so if you want to come up with a career scenario, the only thing I ask is please use stock that comes with whatever route you're making it for. Or if you've got a particular idea, let me know and I can tell you whether I've got the stock you want to use. But yeah, if you're a scenario creator and want to do some career scenarios for routes on Train Sim, let me know and I shall do. I mean, say if actually we'll do a whole community scenario thing. So if you want to do community scenarios, link them to me and I shall play them. Again, if you've got particular stuff in mind, let me know, because there's some stuff I don't have. Obviously you know some of the stock I have because you've seen what routes I've played so far. But yeah, so if you have something very niche in mind, do just ask. Not for my benefit, but for yours, because I don't want you to make a wonderful scenario that includes, for example, the Steam Sound Supreme GWR 28X280 model. It's a wonderful model. I don't own it. I'm sure your scenario is wonderful. I can't play it. But yeah, if you are a scenario creator, hit me up, let me know, and I shall play some scenarios more than happily in a community scenario playlist. Very happy to do that. And they can be from all over the shop, from whatever route. Doesn't have to be one of these routes, but again, let me know. And I can tell you what routes I have. Where are we coming through now? We are flying through Carrington, somewhere. Didn't quite catch it even on the map. But yeah, we're not far away from Newcastle now. In fact, we're starting to curve round towards it. I'll be excited to do a long haul freight. You know, sort of thing that has to be split over 2 or 3 videos, like, you know, 180-minute freight journey, 3 hours of picking up and dropping off stuff. That I'll be excited to do. And there's a couple of shunting things as well. A couple of shunting scenarios, that'd be good. And obviously as we get further down different routes, there's going to be different scenarios and stuff like that. So I'm genuinely quite excited. A couple of routes that I'm not excited for, not because I don't like the route, just because I know that there's stock I'll have to drive that I'm not very good at driving. So I'll have to do a few practice runs in between recording and editing. Obviously there are some routes like this one, I'm only doing one activity on this because it's a nice link to go from Edinburgh to Newcastle via train. I feel like it makes the playlist feel a little bit more authentic, quote unquote. But yeah, there are some scenarios where it's literally like the Glasgow to Edinburgh. It's Glasgow to Edinburgh, Glasgow to Edinburgh at night, Edinburgh to Glasgow at night. So it's like, well, I'm only doing one scenario because I'm not doing the same thing twice. Because that's just ridiculous. Why would you? Why? It's no fun for me, but more importantly, it's not interesting for you because you guys have seen me just do the same thing twice, and that's kind of not what you're here on the channel to see. I don't mind activities that cover cover the same bits of routes and stuff, but as long as you're doing different things, like the Fort William to Mallaig route, there wasn't a lot of operational difference in the stuff we did there, but sorry, a lot of locational difference in the stuff we did there. There was a lot of operational difference. So yeah, I'm going to try and keep this playlist as fresh and exciting as I can for you guys, as well as for myself, obviously. Yes, we are 5 miles away from Newcastle now, so we're getting pretty close. Newcastle is not a station I've been to in real life, isn't it? Have I been there? Might have been there when I was doing Panto up in Bridlington. I've been to Newcastle. I don't know if I went by train or someone took. I can't remember. It's a lovely station either way, Newcastle. Even if it is just the visual version, the virtual version that I know. Bedlington, Junction 2. Three miles to go. We've cut all throttle, so when we get to 2 miles to go, I'll start putting some sort of brake on. Mind you, we are going downhill quite rapidly, so I might put some brake on now, just to make sure we definitely slow at a decent pace into Newcastle. Oh, was that a canal we went over? I've missed it. Can't look. These are essentially cab rides, aren't they? Really, because you guys like me don't get to see much of the route itself. So this is not for sightseeing. This is definitely cab ride videos. Here we are at Heaton Depot. Get off me, wire. Ah, yeah. Bloody hell. Yeah, somewhere maintenance depot. It's Heaton on the map, so I'm going to suggest that the maintenance depot is also called Heaton. Yeah, 2.5 miles outside Newcastle. Slowing appropriately, I think. I think overall that's been quite a good run. I've got frustrated at the way the locomotive works in terms of how often you have to tell it, yes, I'm definitely still alive, you don't have to stop. And its willingness to throw me into the emergency brake situation. But other than that, other than that, I've been quite happy with that. Nice, relaxing cab ride for you guys. A nice, semi-relaxing drive for me, apart from getting irate at it. So yes, we can just gently roll into Newcastle now, really. We've got plenty of time to play with in terms of scheduling. We'll go across that, of course, that famous junction, which was at one point the most complicated junction in the world, wasn't it? One of the junctions outside Newcastle. I don't think it's really there anymore, but one of the junctions was absolutely. Thank you. I think it was one of the most complicated junctions in the world of its kind. Here we are, entering Newcastle. There'll be the Newcastle Metro as well around here. Whether they've rendered that in, obviously. Oh yeah, there, right next to me, the Newcastle Metro, the Tyne Metro is what it, to give it its proper title. Let's start slowing some stuff down because. Well, we've gone from Scotland, we're now at Newcastle. But what are we going through first? Where are we going through first, sorry? Manners. Mind your manners. Yes, so we're going to be arriving definitely on time, possibly early at Newcastle. Well, actually, I'm pretty happy with that, considering we were 7 minutes late at Dunbar. To be arriving, give or take a minute early at Newcastle is actually, dare I say it, fairly impressive. Not wishing to big myself up too much, but yeah. I'm quite happy with the way this has turned out in the end. And there it is, Newcastle. There it lies. With a large selection of stock on display. Newcastle Platform 4. Lovely. So, yeah, when you see me next, we'll be in the 1980s. Blue era of the Newcastle to York, the default Newcastle to York route that came with the original Cuju rail simulator, the East Coast Mainline. As I now have to stop before I go past the signal at danger. And yeah, there we are. So you'll see a view similar to this without the catenary wires. And we shall now get out and have a look at this fine locomotive. And yes, so thank you ever so much for watching. If you are enjoying what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. Check out, if you're new, check out the rest of the Career Scenarios playlist. Check out also in the description my Sodor Snippets playlist, where I'm building the island of Sodor, so it gives you an idea of where I am and what I've done over the past far too many years to count. Also check out my Train Sim Workshop playlist in the description below. Check out my Railway Empire playlist in the description below as well. On the screen you're about to see, click on the annotations. They will take you to non-train sim related stuff. And thank you ever so much for watching. I was me. That was the Newcastle, the East Coast Main Line North, Edinburgh to Newcastle. See you very soon, guys. Goodbye.
The epitome. Look, I've got the cracks. I've got the angry eyes.
You drew it in as I was saying it, mate. I'm not stupid.
No, like, I did this.
Stupid.
Yes!
I did this as we all did it.
No,
we all did it
not.
at the same time.
Absolutely did not.
I'll be honest,
When did I
mate,
finish
I'll be
drawing?
honest. This bit here was added afterwards. That was not.
Yeah,
I
you ruined
thought
the
we'd-
face of the watch.
I thought we'd stop.